A lot of what?
A lot of counts.
Yeah, I do have a lot of accounts. The thing is that they have an account for each single course, so a lot.
Oh. And you remember, or you have the same password for everything?
The same password. The good thing is it's the same password for every course.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
yeah, it's easy.
easy to remember.
Yeah. Okay. So today we'll continue with the unit and be looking at, well, the past perfect in this case, and then infinitives after it. So do you
Okay.
maybe have any question before we start?
No.
Okay. So do you mind reading the instructions?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can you please read instructions?
Okay. Nick and Talia are still in the restaurant. They have decided to say and finish dinner. Look at the picture. Nick and Talia are reminiscing or talking about past memories. Predict. What do you think they are talking about? Maybe their first job. Maybe.
Okay.
Or no, first job. Or maybe
Okay.
or maybe childhood.
The child. Okay.
Yeah. Why they decide to be a soccer player or be a reporter. How their childhood childhood I don't know. I forgot. Uh, no interferir, pero I just forgot the word. I don't know what I wanted to say.
Okay.
Sorry.
Okay, don't worry. So yes, maybe. Do you think that Talia and Nick knew each other before the whole scandal?
Mm, probably.
I don't know. Do you
Yeah,
remember what?
I think they were in college together.
I think
Yeah,
so, yeah. Okay, well,
because I don't know another way they met.
yeah.
Hijos, por Dios.
I have a confession to make.
Oh no, a confession? I thought this whole thing was over.
No. It's not about that. It's about, well, us.
Us. Us as in you and me?
Do you remember that night in college when we were studying for our Shakespeare final?
Of course I remember it. I remember it well.
Well, I'd wanted to ask you out.
You did? Wow, so why didn't you?
Well, I'd heard you had a boyfriend.
Oh, no. Well, I did have a boyfriend, but we had split up earlier in the semester.
Oh, you're kidding. I didn't know that. I guess I should.
I'm not seeing anyone now, though. You know?
Well, then.
Tutte bene? Is everything all right? Can I get you un cafe, tè, cappuccino?
I'll have a cappuccino.
Yeah, make that too.
Okay. So, what was it?
College days.
No problem. Yes. You were in a class together, right? What was the class?
Maybe literature, or they were doing a Shakespeare finals. I don't remember what class. I suppose something related to Shakespeare.
Probably, yeah, probably literature. Okay, so let's answer these questions that we have in here.
Okay.
Now, the first one, at the beginning of the scene, Nick says, I have a confession to make. So what is Nick's confession?
And he wanted to ask Talia out when they were in college.
Okay, that's right.
Oh, that's so cute.
Yeah, right?
Uh-huh.
He never did. He thought she had a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that.
What is it? Studying with him for an exam.
Yes, studying with him. And why didn't Nick ask Talia out when they were in college?
He thought she was already dating someone else.
Yes. And what does Talia tell Nick about her boyfriend in college?
And they split up after they had stopped dating before Nick and Talia began study together.
Okay, exactly. They had stopped dating before Nick and Talia began. So they had broken up before. So Talia wasn't actually seeing someone at the time.
Yeah.
So look at the use of the past perfect in there. They had stopped dating.
Yeah.
Before they began. Okay, so that's awesome. 4 out of 4. That was great. So, Mafe, is there anything wrong with your camera? I don't know if it's my Zoom, because my Zoom has been weird today, but I cannot see you. It's just black.
Yeah, I see that too. I don't know what happened.
So you cannot see me either?
Yeah, no, I can see you, but I don't know. My camera is not working, I think.
Oh, okay. All right, that's fine. The good thing is that I can hear you well.
Okay.
No, I can't hear you.
At the beginning, it was working. No, now it's
Now I
working.
can hear you, yeah. I thought it was mine. Is it feel?
No, it was like freeze my face there, and I was, oh, what happened?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
No worries.
Sorry. Okay.
All right, so that's what we're going to be looking at, the past perfect. Let's see.
Okay.
I don't know where it's opening. I have to. Okay, well, I guess it's.
Today is 11.
Yes, 11:11.
Oh, yeah. Lucky day.
Do you think so?
No.
Okay. So here's a past perfect. This is more about the use of why we need it or when we use it. Okay, so for example, here we have a story. I don't know if you could, hold on. Oh,
I think it's low because you have a lot of windows open.
maybe, but it's not. I mean, it's just Chrome, Zoom, that I have to have it, and then this one here. Oh. Okay, well, anyways. So can you maybe read this story here?
Two different ways to tell a story. I met John back in 2010. Last week, a man called my name just as I was getting out of the car in front of my office. I saw it was John, and we started talking. We're friends now.
Okay. So as you can see, this story here is in perfect chronological order. So you met John in 2010, and last week somebody called your name, and you saw it was John. So it's in perfect chronological order. Now, what if we read this one here? Maybe you can read it?
Okay. Let me tell you about my new friend. Last week, just as I was getting out the car in front of the office, a man called my name. I turned around and saw it was John, the guy I had met back in 2010.
Okay. Now, is this story in chronological order?
No.
No. Because the first event, the thing that happened first, which is you meeting John, is at the past. It's not in
Sorry, what did
chronological.
you say?
So this is the first event, right? In 2010, like maybe 10 years ago. But it's not at the beginning of the sentence, like of the story, like here. It's actually at the end. It's not in chronological order. Now, and as you can see here, we're using the past perfect. Now, the thing is that when we're telling stories, when we're telling something, we don't always think beforehand how we're going to organize each step. Like first, I'm going to say the first thing that happened, then the second. So you don't think that much when you speak. You don't think. Sometimes you just tell stories, and then when you have to kind of make a reference to something that happened before the time of the story, then you use the past perfect. So maybe if I ask you, how was your week? So right now I'm asking you, how was your week?
Yeah.
I'm asking you about your week. So you're just gonna tell me about your weekend. You're gonna start, oh, okay, so last weekend I went out with my friends and we had some drinks. And then I ran into this person, I don't know, that had been my teacher when I was in kindergarten. So right now you're telling me the story about your weekend. But if you want to tell me something that happened before that time that you're referring to, you're not gonna think about it and tell me, okay, so but first I need to give you context. Okay, so first when I was in kindergarten, I had this teacher, and last weekend going back, I did this and I was with some friends and I ran into this teacher that I'm telling you about. So you're probably not gonna do that. You're just gonna tell me the story about your weekend. And if I need to know something,
It cut off. I can hear you.
about the previous event,
Couldn't hear
then
you.
and it's the same way in Spanish.
Sorry, it
Okay,
cut off.
hold on.
I couldn't hear you.
I think I'm gonna change. Thing is, if I'm asking you about a specific, or if you're telling me about a specific point in time, but you need me to know about a previous event before that time, then you're gonna use the passport. Okay, so that's it. When you want to reveal an earlier event, and then you're gonna use the passport. So he called my name, I saw him, and that was the guy that I had met in 2010. Okay, so do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think.
It's the same way as in Spanish. In Spanish you say, so estaban saliendo del carro, un hombre me llamó, me doy la vuelta y veo que es la persona que había conocido hace 10 años, the person that I had met 10 years ago.
Uh-huh.
So it's the same as in Spanish, to reveal something that happened before the time that I'm referring to right now.
Yeah.
So, for example, here we have two options. So yesterday when I got home, my daughter baked muffins. So can you tell me what happened first?
Yesterday when I got home from my daughter baking muffins. Her daughter baking muffins. Muffins.
That's the first event?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
No, I'm not sure.
I think it's the other way around, right? Like when I got home from work, my daughter baked muffins. Cuando llegué a casa, mi hija hizo.
Muffins, sí.
So when I got home, she made muffins. So first you got home and then she made muffins, right?
Uh-huh.
So first you got home and then she made muffins.
Okay. Yesterday when I work.
In the second one, if you say yesterday when I got home from work, my daughter had baked muffins.
Ah, okay, that's different. The
Yes.
first thing she did was her daughter had baked muffins. She baked muffins first.
Exactly. I got home. Yeah, exactly. So cuando llegué a casa, los muffins ya estaban ahí. My daughter had made them. So that's the difference, right? As you can see here, right now I'm talking about yesterday, right? I'm talking about yesterday when I got home. That's the specific point. So me getting home. Now, if I want to reveal something that happened before that event, my daughter baking muffins, then I'm using the past perfect.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Or in the second one, I had 3 cups of coffee when I arrived at work. Or I had already had 3 cups of coffee when I arrived at work. So it's different, isn't it? What happened first here?
He had first he arrived at work, then he or she had 3 cups of coffee.
Exactly. And in the second one?
First, he had already had 3 cups of coffee, then he arrived at work.
Exactly. So we're revealing something that happened before that specific time. So for example, how would you rephrase this using the past perfect?
I visited London in 2018. Wow. Okay. I visited London in 2018.
What would it be?
Yo había ido. In 2019, I
2019.
I had gone in London. No.
Remember, the past perfect is used to reveal the event that happened before the time that you're using right now. So Think about what happened first,
Visit London.
right? You went to London.
Yeah.
Yes, but the main time here is the second one, because
Yeah.
that's the most important part, right? You're not, the idea of this sentence is to tell you that it was easy for you to get around. So that's the main part. So in your sentence, you just start with the main part like you would do naturally. So I went to London.
And it had been easy to find my way around.
No, because had been would mean that it was before you went to London.
Okay.
I went to London and it was easy to find my way around. Because I had visited, or I had been there maybe 1 year before.
Okay.
So you're just, if somebody asks you, so how was London? Was it hard for you to get used to the British vibes? You're gonna say, no, I think it was easy for me to find my way around because I had been there at some time before, right? Because the main part of the sentence, the main idea is how easy it was for you to get you around. And that was only because you had visited London before. It wasn't your first time.
Okay.
No? Your kind of make sense?
Yeah, I think.
Let's try another.
Okay, please.
So here we have, when I went to London this year, it was easy to find my way around because I've been there before.
Okay.
How would you do this one?
Okay. I worked at the airport for years. When I went on holiday last month, I met many familiar faces at the airport because I had worked at the airport 5 years ago.
Perfect, there you go. So when I went on a holiday, I met many familiar faces at the airport because I've worked there 5 years ago. Nice.
Porque había trabajado, sería, ¿no?
Yeah. So, cuando estaba en el aeropuerto, había muchas caras conocidas porque había trabajado ahí antes. Había trabajado ahí hace 5 años atrás. So,
Ajá.
conocía mucha gente porque había trabajado ahí antes. Right? You had worked there before.
Okay.
Okay, what about this one here?
When we arrived at 16 at 6:05, the movie had already started.
Great, perfect. So when we arrived, the movie had already started. Or the movie had already started by the time we arrived. No problem. You know, when you have these times with like 0 in between, like 6:01, 6:02, you usually say, oh, right? 6:01, 6:05 in this case.
6, or we say like 11, 13. Say.
I don't know. Usually you just say 6:05, and it's kind of implied.
Okay.
Yeah, you rarely say something like 18.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you could, but usually you say PM AM, right? So 6:05 AM. Yeah.
6:05 p.m. Okay.
When you're writing though, when you're writing,
Mm-hmm.
write like that, or you could also write like this. It's very common in English. So yeah.
Okay. In an essay.
Yes, in an essay.
Okay.
But like normally, it's not that formal. It's just writing like in the same way in Spanish, right? We usually write like this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So there are some words that we use with the past perfect, like by the time, when, because, already, before, in the past. So by the time means, by the time is like a,
¿Para cuándo?
yes, exactly, para cuando. It puts like a wall in there, right? By the time I finish my report, so here's your life, here's you finishing the report. And when you say by the time, you put a wall in there and you refer to any time before. By the time I finish my report, everyone had already gone home. So maybe here, 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 I don't know. What else? Already means yeah, right?
Yeah.
It means yeah. Yes.
But we're using two, like by the time and already in the same sentence.
Yeah, you can use them in the same sentence. It's not in the same clause though, right? Because by the time I finish my report, one event, everyone had already gone home.
So here we also use yet.
Yes, you can say something like,
No, yet. He hadn't done yet.
yes, when I was at school, or I don't know, when I turned 15 or 16, I hadn't tried sushi yet.
So, sorry. Uh-huh.
With negative thoughts, right? Notice that we usually use the past perfect with another tense. It's never just the past perfect, like with no context. Like maybe
We need like an introduction for what we're gonna say with the past perfect.
yeah, but not necessarily an introduction because it can also go at the end. I had tried sushi by the time I turned 15. So, but it needs two events so that it has a sequence of events.
Mhm.
So, how would you rephrase this?
Um, when I woke up at 6 a.m., my husband had already left.
Yes, that's right. When I woke up, my husband was ready. Perfect. Yes. So this one here.
By the time the police arrived, the criminal had escaped.
Great. By the time the police arrived, the criminal had escaped. Now this one here.
Mm. Mm-hmm. Wow. I'm not sure what happened first. I think that her husband left the keys under the flower. That happened first?
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I found the key under. I found the key. Mm, mm. I found the key under the flower pot because my husband had left them last night.
Perfect. Yes. So I found the, well, no, I'm not sure if last night. Last night you got home and you found the keys under the flower
Okay.
because your husband had left them there.
Okay.
Yes. Now this one here.
When I saw a double rainbow and wanted to take a photo, the rainbow had just disappeared after 30 seconds because it took me 1 minute to get a camera.
Okay, that was amazing. Great. So yeah, that's right. So when I saw the double rainbow, wanted to take a photo, it had already disappeared. It had just disappeared. I like that because it took me 1 minute to get it. Okay. Now this one here.
Okay, I stole some money. Jack stole some money in the past. It is in his police report. We found out about the last week. Wow. This is ay, ay, ay. So we found out about the last week. Okay, what happened first?
What do you think?
The Jack stole some money in the past, and it is in the police report. By the time we found out about that, the police report had just arrived. No, had
No.
no.
I think the main event here is this. That okay, no worries. The main event is that they found his police report last week.
Uh-huh.
That's the main event. So this is like what happened earlier, but you're just revealing it now.
Mm-hmm. We found out about. Okay. Okay, I think I get. We found out Jack stole some money in the past because the police report had arrived.
I
Maybe
don't know.
no.
I mean, this is the event that we're revealing. I would put this in the past perfect because this is what happened earlier to what we're talking about, right? So maybe you could say, when the police report arrived, we found out that Jack had stolen some
Yeah,
money. It wasn't.
yeah, you're right.
Nos enteramos que Jack había robado dinero.
When the police report arrived, we found out about Jack. We found out that Jack had stolen some money in the past. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah, you're right.
Okay. What about this one here?
Alden studied at Tulane University. He moved to Rome for work. I found it easy to communicate with people. Alan found easy to communicate with people in Rome because when he moved, sorry. Alan found easy to communicate with people when he moved to Rome because he had studied Italian at university.
Perfect. There you go. He find it easy to communicate with people when he moved to Rome because he had studied it. Nice.
Yeah.
And the last one.
He was his fortune. By the time he turned 58, he had already lost all his fortune.
Perfect. There you go. You even used the right one by the time. It's the one that sounds more natural. So By the time he turned 58 in 2010, he had lost all his fortune. Nice. Okay, yeah. Do you have any questions about the past perfect?
No, it's a little bit confused. The use of the time.
No. Want to do one that we have here?
Yes, please. I think this is the hardest part of the grammar, the past perfect.
Yeah, it's usually the last tense that you see. It's the last one, right? The last tense. There's no another one after that.
Okay.
So, okay. Maybe you can read the dialogue.
Did you watch Newsline last night? No. It had already ended by the time I got home. Can I see the other, like
The other option?
the other option? Yeah.
I don't know why it's so small, but I think it's already ended.
No.
Without the half.
Ah, yeah. It's the first one.
No.
What did you do last night? I went to sleep as soon as I finished dinner.
Perfect. One more thing I didn't say. It has a contraction, right?
Yeah.
It's not would, it's have. And the only way that you can use it is when you have a pronoun. So for example, they, you, I don't know, she, but you can never use it if you don't have a pronoun. If you have like Maria, you cannot say that.
Ah, okay.
Only
But
if it's a
you can also say that I should Maria. No.
also.
If we use, I don't know, should or could, and you put the D at the end, you can say Maria with a D at the end.
No,
No.
no. I mean, that D as a contraction could mean two things, or have or would,
Ah, okay.
right? And
I should.
Should, no, should doesn't have a contraction.
Yeah, because that was my question. I mean, when I use D, I can recognize.
It's just whenever you have a pronoun. So I, you, he, she, it, we, but usually with have.
But if you use would, I mean, I went to sleep as soon as I would finish dinner.
No, it's not a tense anymore, right? I mean, first thing would.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing that it does is it adds like an ia in Spanish, right? So comería, I would eat. Bailaría, I would dance, right? But it doesn't do much. You know? So there's no such a thing as would as base. You cannot say would finished in the past.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
You know, you say would finish, I would finish, terminaría. You don't say I would finish.
Terminado. Yeah. So the structure of past perfect is the first clause of the first sentence, simple past.
I mean, not necessarily, right? So we're just looking at the past perfect here. Now we use it usually with other tense, but the past perfect itself is just subject. I don't know, he, she, Maria, just had, past participle.
Past participle. Yeah.
I had finished, I had done, I had seen, I had been. So now the next one here.
Okay. When did you get started in the news business? It was in 1985. It's funny, but I never given any thought to journalism when I was in college. Given?
Given, nice,
Yeah.
because I'd never given any thought.
I never given any thought. Had you worked at all before then? Have you worked at all before then? Not much. I just graduated. No. Yeah. Yes.
Exactly, I just graduated. Now here,
So
look
how
at
do
this.
you pronounce?
I'm sorry?
How can you say it? I just.
I just,
I.
I,
I.
it's usually, it's not
No
in
matter
that nose.
it's had, no matter is it had or would. Right?
Yeah, both of them is I.
I.
Right.
Okay.
To be honest, it's not that noticeable. For example, when you say he or she, and you're speaking fast, you won't notice it.
Hid. Shit.
Yeah, like she just graduated.
He just graduated.
She just graduated.
Date.
That's why usually if you really want to, I mean, usually the have is just to kind of make that sequence of event more noticeable, right? So that's why you usually pronounce it the whole thing. You don't contract it that much. You say, I had just graduated. I had just graduated. Unless you're using already. In that case, sometimes you contract it because the already is like, it tells you that it's the past perfect. Like, I've already been there before. And also the verb, being. So I've already.
Yeah, already you use it in past perfect.
Yes. You can,
But
I think,
not only in past perfect.
not only past perfect,
Yeah.
but usually.
Okay.
Or fifth one.
Dean is a great athlete, isn't he? Yes. By his last year in high school, he he'd already won some awards. Have you seen John this morning? No. He left on an assignment before I got here.
Nice. Hey, that's perfect. Everything was great. Okay. Any questions?
Like a question, no. But being honest is kind of difficult. I mean, if you give me a paragraph or something, it's difficult to put, I don't know, a lot of verbs, and you have to write in the correct time.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Yeah. It's not that used, to be honest, but yes, it is. Yeah, I think it's just practice. If we had more time, we would practice more.
Yeah.
So that would be, yeah, I think it's just necessary to practice. And, but I don't know, you get used to it. Like, even in Spanish, you don't use it that much. It's just kind of the same in English. You'd use it, but it's not that, vital. It's there.
Okay.
So we actually need to see something else. It's quite short, quite easy. So this is how sometimes we use the infinite form, which is basically to and the base form, right? Like to be, to see, to begin, to understand, after some adjectives and some nouns. So we have seen that we use them with some, okay, wait a minute. We have seen that we use them with some verbs, right? Like I want to see, I need to see, I don't know, I would like to see. But not only verbs, sometimes we use it with adjectives and nouns too. So that's what we're gonna see. So, okay, what I was saying, we use it after certain verbs, but we can also use it after certain adjectives. So for example, things like ready. Are you ready to go? Igual in español, right? Are you ready to go? Ready to do this? Ready to be there? So, ready. And most of them describe a feeling about the action. So it's how you feel. This is how you feel about the verb, about the action. So you feel ready to go. You feel anxious to work. So most of the adjectives that you use with infinitives is to describe how you're feeling about that. So for example, you could say, I'm excited to see, I don't know, to go to the concert. So excited to do something, right? This is how you feel about this action, about going to the concert. You feel excited. So you're excited.
My question, how you express feeling using ready? So are you ready to go? Yeah, I'm ready to finish
It
all.
means that you're like prepared. You are emotionally prepared. You are physically prepared. You're ready, like you feel ready. Te sientes preparado. Tú.
¿Te sientes preparado? Is that the translation? For
I mean,
me, ¿estás listo para irte?
Yes, usually. But what if I say, do you think you're ready to start a relationship?
¿Estás listo para comenzar? It's not like, are you prepared?
Exactly. Are you prepared to start a relationship? Like, do you feel ready to start a relationship? It depends. Here, yes, it's more like, ¿estás listo maybe physically? Like, are you already dressed up and everything? But, I mean, not necessarily. Many of them, most of them express a feeling, but not all of them. Like, what else? Maybe, I don't know, another example that's not a feeling. Maybe, because feelings, there are a lot, like I'm happy to see you happy. Or I'm sorry to tell you this. Or I'm anxious or I'm worried. Well, in that case, no, right? You don't say worried to, you say worried about. So it's just memorizing them because there's no rule.
Okay.
But yes, usually with the feelings.
But I don't get it.
Like what don't you get? This?
The point of this infinitives.
Yeah, I know. I don't get it either. It's like there's no rule. I cannot tell you, okay, so verbs that end in this, you can use it with an infinitive, or the adjectives or nouns.
Something natural.
I'm sorry?
Something natural like.
Yeah, it's something that you're gonna know. Like, it sounds right. But it's
But
usually
case ready is for adjectives or nouns.
ready is an adjective.
Okay.
The thing is what it describes, right? Some adjectives like anxious, it describes a feeling. Now ready describes more like a state, you know?
Can you explain me in Spanish the point of infinitive after adjectives and nouns, like the main idea?
What do you mean immediately? I mean, it's just to express how you feel about something or how you are for something. I would say maybe like, I'm anxious to work on the story. Estoy ansiosa por trabajar, right? In Spanish is por. A veces es otras palabras, like, estoy feliz de decirte o de verte. So in English, you have, I mean, in Spanish, you have many words for it. I'm excited to work. Yeah. Estoy emocionada por trabajar en that. So there's no point. It's just, and no rule either. It's just that some adjectives you can use it. You cannot say like, for example, red. Red is an adjective, right? You cannot say, I don't know, this car is red to be here. Like,
Okay.
right. So that's why maybe
Okay. Now I get it. Yeah.
they're just small.
Okay. Adjectives to express emotions, feelings.
Yes, most of them. Emotions, feelings, or that's somehow related, right? Porque esté relacionado con la acción. Because if you realize, like, this here is causing this. Working on the story is causing you to be anxious. So you're anxious to work.
To work.
And sometimes it's not only adjectives, sometimes you have nouns. So, for example, I have a confession to make. So, again, you know how in Spanish we do the same, right? Que, so, tengo una confesión.
Tengo algo que confesarte.
Yes, pero en ese caso you're not using an infinitive, right? Tengo una confesión que hacer. Tengo algo que decir. Algo que decir. Una confesión que hacer. Alguien a quien, in this case, a quien ver. So infinitive form, or I don't know. Maybe.
So the noun plus infinitive is I have a confession to make. Confession.
A confession is a noun.
A noun. Make is the infinitive. Okay.
So they say often express necessity or advice. So I need to make a confession. I have a confession to make, right? I need to study for a test. I have a test to study for. Or I need, so it's expressing necessity. I'm sorry?
No, I was reading. It's time to leave.
It's time to leave. So yeah, it's like it's hora de irse in that case.
So
it depends. Usually when you talk about needs, you say, I have something to do. Right now, that something could be anything. I have a story to write. I have, I don't know, well, maybe a
Homework to
dessert
do.
to eat, exactly. Homework to do, or a report to finish. Un reporte que terminar, tarea que hacer, dessert to eat, or you know what
Another
I mean.
way, yeah.
I mean, that's like the indirect way. Otherwise, you just need to say, I have to write a story, right?
Okay.
I have to eat a dessert.
So
I
it
have
means the verb is at the end.
yes. Just like a change of.
Okay. So I have a confession to make. I have
To make a confession.
to make a confession.
Yes. I have to make a confession. Oh, confession. So you're just kind of inverting the order.
To make, but we don't change the verb. Like we keep the base.
I mean, what you need to keep is the infinitive form, right? Like to write, to eat, to do. But this can change. You can say, I had a story to write. I will have a story to write in any tense. The only thing that keeps being the same is the infinitive form.
Okay.
So usually this isn't something that you see as a grammar rule. It's something that just comes naturally, right? You don't ever learn this.
I think it's more complicated than the past
Yeah,
verb.
when you try to learn it, yeah.
Yes.
Now look at this. Sometimes you can mix an adjective, a noun, and then an infinitive form. But it's basically the same. You know, you're just describing in this case the noun. So remember what I said, like, I have homework to do, right? Sometimes you can describe the homework. You can say, I have, I don't know. Well, you could say a lot of homework to do, or maybe an adjective would be awful or amazing. Maybe an amazing report
To do.
to write. Or to write. So in that case, you're just describing the thing. Or I have a wonderful person to see or to be with. So you're just describing.
I know. So in the first sentence, that's an easy mistake to make. Easy, it's an adjective, mistake noun, and to make infinitive.
Exactly. Now, easy is describing the mistake, and the mistake is what you need to do.
So in what case we use this? Like it come natural or
It does, but usually, you know what? If you think about it, like from this perspective, this noun that they say is not just a noun. If you think about it, it will be the object of the sentence. Like if you say, I have a report to write, and in a normal sentence, it will be, I have to write a report, right? So, write is the verb.
Yeah.
And report is the object, isn't it? Is what you need to write. Right? What do you say?
No, nothing.
I'm sorry?
No, nothing.
Okay, so I would say that you do this when the object is more important. Kind of like the passive voice, because the object is more important, right? Right now, it's not about you or what you have to do. It's about the report. When you say I have a report to write, you are mostly talking about the report rather than you doing it. So it's like the verb is not that important anymore. It's more the object. You know, I have a report to do. So it's not about what you have to do, it's about the report. Maybe. And the way I see it. The same here, right? That's an easy mistake to make. So it's not about making mistakes, it's about that mistake that you make.
So here really it's
This one here?
yeah, Jack really wants to be famous.
I don't think, I mean, you don't have anything here. This is just a verb, right? Wants to be.
Oh yeah.
This is the one. It's a high price to pay. So the high price is the important thing. It's a high price to pay. You could say you have to pay a high price, but there's a high price to pay.
The noun is fame?
No, the noun is price.
A high is an adjective.
Exactly. High is describing the noun, and this is the verb. So the most important thing is the price, right? There's a price to pay. For example, in that case, a price to pay is an expression. It's like an idiom. You know, like there's a price to pay for everything. Todo cuesta, todo tiene un precio que pagar. I don't know. It's an idiom, so it just comes naturally. In that case.
Okay.
And what do we have? We often use for plus a noun or pronoun before the infinitive when we include the subject or. Okay, but this is different, I would say. So this is, we do this when the verb is not referring to the subject, but to somebody else. So we have one more person involved here. Like for example, I don't know, let's change it. So it's easy for them to make a mistake, right? So in this case, we're not talking about it, we're talking about them. So we use for somebody to do something when we're talking about somebody else in the sentence. So it's time for us to go. It's important. With important too, you know, it's very important usually. I mean, I'm sure you've used this in your life. It's important to see or to do this. It's important to, so you don't think about that, but it's this, right? It's important to, so you could say it's important for you to check your essay. Or it's important for me to know what I'm doing. Or it's important for people to choose a good president. So it's important for somebody else to do something.
Yeah.
So let's see what we have as a practice, because I don't know how you're going to practice this.
Is it okay, hour? You don't mind?
It's not, don't worry.
Okay.
Let's do it. Do you? Do you have something
Oh,
to
no,
do?
no, no. I was worried about you. If you.
to form a sentence.
Okay. I wonder
Okay.
what's talking tally too long. What is taking tally? Maybe it's time to go. Maybe it's time for us to call her.
Okay, exactly. Es hora de que la llamemos. Time for us to. For example, it's time. Again, it's an expression, right? You just say it's time. Yes, hora. It's time. Or it's about time. Like, ya era hora. It's about time. It's an expression. Yes. Okay, what about this one here?
Don't worry, she has a really good plan. I think it's going to work. It's the first. I'm happy to hear that.
Exactly. I'm happy to hear that. Me alegra escuchar eso. I'm happy to hear that. In that case, it's a feeling.
Why didn't you air the story about Nick on the news tonight? I wait to make a decision. No.
It's made.
Sorry?
I mean, I wait to make the decision. I mean, the tenses don't match, right? You could say I waited to make the decision.
I made the decision to wait.
Exactly. I made the decision to.
It doesn't have sense. Toma la decisión de esperar.
Exactly. So you see, this is another expression. You use it with everything, like I made the decision to say goodbye, or I made the decision to leave. Or when you say that this is quite typical, like that's my decision to make.
Yeah, I heard this.
So again,
Okay.
it's an expression. That's my.
Yeah, that's an expression.
Okay. This one here.
So the first practice was what? Now plus infinitive? Or what?
It was both adjectives and nouns.
Okay. Okay. She and Nick are having dinner at Valentino's. That's a nice place to eat.
Exactly. Es un buen lugar para comer. That's a nice place to eat.
Yeah, I don't know the point of this. I mean, it doesn't make sense, this grammar.
Yeah. You never think about this.
Yeah, like it comes natural.
Like,
It sounds good, okay. Do you think the Federation will let Nick play again? It's hard to say.
Okay. And that's an expression too, right? It's hard to say. Difícil de decir.
What will happen if Nick can play? It's impossible for them to win.
Yes, exactly. It's impossible for them to win. With impossible to win, it's impossible for us to get it in time.
It's something like you say in Spanish. Like it sounds like a translation.
Yeah, I think, thank God, it's kind of the same in English and Spanish.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's exactly the same, right? The same expression, same. Yeah.
The same expressions, the same order.
Thank God, because otherwise it would be complicated.
That's why it looks familiar for me. Like it's a way that I will say in Spanish.
Okay. So everything was correct.
Okay.
I don't think you're gonna have a problem with that.
No. I will see in the practice.
In practice, yes. Okay. Do you have any questions about what we've done today?
I'm not sure. Like I said, this part of the grammar, I think this class was the most complicated class. Like it was difficult.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe we can take some time to practice the past perfect.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. Anyhow, though, if you have questions,
No.
this we're gonna see. Okay.
Okay. So what else for the test? What else do we need to?
For the test?
Yeah, for the test. What
We cover one more unit, which is gonna be future in the past.
What?
But this is what I was telling you. Remember one time we were talking about this, like iba I was going to do this. That's it. So we're gonna cover that. Then passive causative, and this is what you were telling me. Do you remember when we were looking at make, help, get? You said,
yeah,
I get my hair done.
Cut. Yeah.
Or my haircut. Yes, that's the passive causative. And then reported speech, basically.
Report was
like
I remember. Like
I say something and you report it. If I say
she said
exactly.
Okay.
So if I say I don't know, I am happy, you're gonna say Andrea says she was happy. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, I remember.
No, okay. So then don't forget the daily survey and see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Andrea.
No worries. Don't mention it.
See you tomorrow.
Bye.